Riveters, and welcome back. If you're anything like me, this weekend is the first that you've had some warmth back in your area. We're in the lower 60s today here in Southeast Ohio, and I'm getting my bike ready to go out and ride. I thought I would talk to you guys a little bit about the things you want to check as you're de-winterizing your bike and returning to the road. And I'm also gonna go on a little bit of a ride here and show some hazards for new riders, things you ought to watch out for if you're getting back on the road for the first time since winter. So let's get started. One of the first things we want to check after winter, if the bike's been sitting, is our tire pressure. Now, if you look on your label, you'll see 35 PSI front and rear is the correct indicated pressure. Grab yourself a pump, check both tires, make sure that they're at 35 PSI. A couple of quick notes on the charge state or the condition of your battery when you're coming back from the winter. It's a good idea to plug the bike in. I let this guy charge overnight. It's no harm to the battery to do that. Gives it a good long time to balance after sitting uncharged. Some of you may notice when you come back to your battery that all four lights, the four LEDs on the battery itself, are flashing. That's an indication that the battery is in its self-balancing state. It's not a problem. It won't wake up from that state and start charging unless you reset the battery or simply put it on the bike, connect your cables, and then begin charging, which is what I did in this case. Hey, please pardon the construction noise in the background. I'm apparently not the only person excited about it being warm outside. Now, we've installed and charged our battery on the bike, and we've checked our tire pressure. Next thing we want to take a quick look at is the brakes. So we want to look at our brake fluid reservoir level in both the rear and the front. And to do that, we want to hold the bike upright and level and make sure that that fluid reservoir is above the minimum line. If the fluid is dark or turning brown or anything like that, it may be time to bleed your brakes. I'm going to put a separate video up later about brake bleeding as well as brake pad replacement, which on that note, the pad should be good for thousands of miles, so very few of you are going to be at that brake pad replacement level yet, but we will cover that later. Let's see. After you've checked your fluid reservoir, this bike looks great. We're going to power the motorcycle on. We're going to wait for the complete startup sequence of the motorcycle to run and the dash to fully boot before we touch any of the controls. Then we're going to go ahead and do a light check, make sure all of our turn signals, brake light, and everything else are functioning correctly before we hit the road. So our bike has booted normally, dash is normal. We're going to go ahead and hit our hazard light indicator so that we can see our front and both of our rear turn signal lights flashing. Grab our brake lever, you can see on the wall there. Brake light is working correctly. And because we're being thorough, go ahead and check our headlight buttons. Our high beam and our low beam buttons are working as indicated, so we are good. That is it for checking over basic objects. All our lights are working. Let's sit up and go for a ride. If that seems like a simplistic pre-ride checklist, it's because it is. By design, Anthem is a simple machine. Charge it up, air up the tires, make sure your brake work, and you're good to go. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Pardon the highway noise behind me, guys, but the main reason I wanted to go on this ride this morning was to show you a particular hazard. If you're a new rider and it's your first time riding after a winter, the roads are going to be covered in a bunch of sand and salt and debris. Let me go over here a bit closer. I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna get run over by this car right now. Hang on a second. So here you can see the road. That's all sand and gravel, and you can just see how much of it there is going into all these corners on these rural highways. It's something to be really, really aware of as a new rider. Guys, well, it may be spring in my heart, but the frozen lake behind me says otherwise. It is a beautiful warm day though. I'm going to keep on riding. I will spare you guys the boring footage of me just cruising around on a motorcycle. However, just, quick reminders, right? Check your tire pressure, charge your battery, check your brakes and fluid, check your lights. If you do all those things, you should be good to go. Also, if you're a new rider, be very, very careful because of that sand in the road. Maybe if you're a really new rider, wait until you've seen the street sweeper trucks make their run in your neighborhood, or until we've had a couple of good hard spring rains to wash that sand and salt off the roads. Be careful, keep it rubber side down. I'll see you guys later.